Welcome to my AGDQ 2020 Hat in Time submission. This will be for the all-time pieces base game category. This category is basically just the 100% category for the non-DLC content. And it will begin on it'll begin on the yes for new game in 3, 2, 1, go. So if it wasn't already aware, my commentary skills are not great. It's not going to get better once I add actually playing the video game. So I'm going to apologize if I skip things, if I brush over things, if I get sidetracked sometimes. It's going to happen. I'm just going to apologize for that now. And I quickly want to mention the top timer you see in-game is the in-game timer. And my splits will be doing real time. The only reason splits are real time is for estimation purposes. So this level we're going to be grabbing some yarn to use to make some hats. We'll be doing that throughout the run, but this is the sprint hat, which I'm sure as it sounds is fast, so we're going to get that quickly. And it's actually going to be pretty rare for the rest of the run to be wearing anything else. Small instances when we need other hats, but for the most part, we'll be seeing the sprint hat. And the reason we grabbed those pawns before we finished the level was so that we can enter Act 3 so we can actually get a different hat. It's not going to be seen as much as the sprint hat, obviously, but it is going to be used a lot in this next level. Not the one we're going to, but the one after that. It just has uses in that level, so we're getting it sooner. So on top of yarn, we're actually going to be getting a different collectible. We're going to be getting a relic in. It's going to be the first collectible we get. Those are going to be used to unlock levels later on. And we're going to be getting 12 of them, and there's not that many actually outside of Mafia Town. So we're going to be getting around half our relics before we leave. So this is going to be the first glitch of the run, ticket dupe. By grabbing the ticket while you're in your invincibility frames, you get 2 tickets. And it doesn't really work for a lot of other items, at least non-useful for a speedrun. So it's really only limited to Mafia Town, but it's convenient enough. So this is going to be a menu storage glitch. This is why we turned cutscenes off in that menuing I just did. And it allows us to move with our menu up. And we'll be using this to just make a cutscene shorter pretty much by going back to hub during the timepiece cutscene. The only reason I'm in this specific menu right now is because it's easiest to see. Pretty much everything's translucent here. I think that's the right word. I'm sorry if that's not the right word. Words are hard. Transparent is what I wanted to say. I don't know. Words are hard. That's all I'm going to say. So, as you saw, instead of watching that whole animation, we just went back to hub pretty much right away. Saves 4 seconds or so. So now we're going on to barrel battle. This level gets a lot faster, or at least a lot more useful once we have the brewing hat. The brewing hat's gonna let us get actually a lot more collectibles while we're here. So for example, we're getting our yarn right here, if the game wants me to, and we're getting a relic past this. Both of which aren't impossible to reroute, it's just very nice to get them right here. And obviously it's faster. Alright. So this level's basically like a mini boss. And this is sort of like the arena for it. There's not really too much to it. Just defeating these Mafia guys. So, you know, Brewing Hats will deal 2 damage instead of 1, and they'll attack enemies even if they're sort of like red, where you normally wouldn't be able to hit them with your umbrella. So that's one of the biggest reasons we have our Brewing Hat right now. And we're gonna, this is gonna be about a 30-second auto scroller. So while we're here, I want to talk about Sprint Hat exploits, because they're sort of important and I don't know when else to talk about them. So the first one is a sprint double jump, or an SDJ. And what that does is it takes the normal single jump you get from a sprint jump, it takes the momentum from that and lets you get a double jump from it, giving you a lot more horizontal distance, and it, you know, allows you to skip a lot more stuff. And the other one is going to be a double sprint jump, or a DSJ. There's really nothing similar about them except the fact that they both involve sprint jumping in some regard. The DSJ is basically just doing 2 sprint jumps off a ledge. That we get a little bit extra height and a little bit more speed. So I'm going to do them when I can because you get the extra speed from it. But aside from that, I mean, you know, a little bit extra height we'll use once for 1 skip, but yeah, I mean, there's more we do with it, but those are the 2 important ones I wanted to mention right away. So now we're doing the this level is the first me speaking to the mic. Just realized I was turning my head to scratch. So I don't know if, you know, probably bad audio. Yeah, I'm getting sidetracked again. My apologies. Anyways, this level's the first main boss fight. And you know, as comes with a lot of bosses, you know, it has some RNG with it due to the attack order randomness. It's not too bad. It's about 15 seconds of RNG, and off the top of my head, I think it's the 2nd biggest single instance of RNG in the run. I could be mistaken with that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. So, you know, the fact that it's so little, and I mean, it's nice it's early in the run to get it over with, but it's also annoying to, you know, lose a lot of time early on to RNG. So, you know, it has its drawbacks as well as its benefits. Moving through the HQ. Gotta get 1 more yarn. And here we're going to be doing a fight skip. If we just walk down this hallway, then we would hit a small cutscene, which we don't want to do. And we would trigger a fight with 2 Mafia guys, which we also don't want to do. So we're just going to go above all of it. And this is the boss fight. So this attack here, we want to see as little as possible. We're guaranteed to see it once per phase. We just don't want to see it more than that. Anything more, and it's like a 6-second time loss each time. Unless I miss a hit, we won't be seeing it more than twice a phase. Unfortunately, we're going to be seeing it twice a phase because bad luck. There really is not much you can do about it, aside from, you know, complain, which we've done a lot of and it hasn't fixed anything, so. Phase 2, it's basically the same thing, just a different attack we have to actually hit him on. Just see what this RNG is like. Alright, that wasn't awful. We only got 1 sandbag that phase. So getting 3 sandbags is, you know, average RNG. I just, you know, wish it was also the fastest RNG. So with the quick kill right there, all we really do is hold our brewer, and it changes our hitbox ever so slightly, so that when we collide with the Mafia boss, it pushes him out of the map into the kill plane. And saves time, which is always a good thing. Alright, So this level that coming up we're about to do is it's a time rift, and these time rifts are inspired by the secrets from Super Mario Sunshine. You'll see a lot of like similar type of like platforms and stuff in them. Thankfully, they don't copy the limiting what you can do in them aspect. That was unfortunate. But anyway, like I said, we still have all of our abilities, which is nice. These levels would be awful otherwise. And you know, pretty much all of the time rifts are on some sort of cycle. Reaching this block when I did is the main cycle for this one. You can still get here a little bit faster. You know, this was by no means perfect, but I mean, I made the main cycle, so I didn't lose all that much time outside of the entering the rift. And those roulettes at the end right there, those are purely for cosmetics. The only times you're ever going to hear people want to get something is when they're wanting to get their favorite color or their favorite hat or something. So this level is going to be the second and the last instance of ticket duping. We need to collect 4 tickets to open this vault, which has the timepiece in it. However, 4 is a pretty big number. I'm a musician, so I can count that high. I'm also lazy, so if I don't have to, I don't want to. So there's a way to just have to count to 2, so I'm going to go with that one. And just like that, we have enough tickets. So, you know, outside of the ticket duplication, there really isn't much going on in this level. Although, throughout this entire run, you know, for the whole 9 minutes it's been, I've been paying attention to my pawns. That's because I need to make sure I have 100 at this point. There is ways to, you know, earn some more if I don't have exactly 100. However, it's just it's silly time loss to not have 100. It's not difficult to make, so I always try and do it. And then once we're actually in the level, this is not my worst level in the run, but it's definitely up there. And it's basically just for a trick at the end. But for this level, we have to shut these faucets off so the lava stops spewing all over Mafia Town. And because these faucets are all over the place, we are, you know, taking some death warps. Hence why you're gonna see me taking a bunch of just random damage. More so on that, the first part of the level, than this part, but so for after this, we're gonna be setting up a. How did I bonk on that? Plays in this game sometimes just doesn't line up with physics. But anyway, so once we take this next death, we're gonna be setting up a little warp, and the way it works. Basically, we're just going to be abusing the soft lock prevention mechanic by on things the game doesn't consider safe, and then getting ourselves stuck, which causes the game to put us back on the last safe thing we stood on, which, as I've said, we've manipulated to be exactly where we want to be. And the only hard part about this strat is this. We can't stand on the faucet where we normally do. That would change our save location. So we have to do that weird thing with the ledge climb and the brewer potion. And I don't know how that one works. And it's sometimes inconsistent. It's usually not too bad. I usually get like third try at worst. But you know, I have my off days sometimes. It's just, for me, it's just a hard trick. So we're gonna be doing one more level in Mafia Town for now. As you can see, there is more than one level left to do. The reason we're only doing one though is because the remaining levels cost pawns, and we're broke. We currently have how many? We currently have 19 pawns. We need 50. So we're gonna come back when we have the money. There's no point in bothering right now. Getting that ledge grab is actually kind of difficult. So there really isn't too much to say about this level. There's not much we can do aside from that one dive boost and just cutting corners. I don't know where that sneezing came from. Unfortunate. So, the only down part about the roulettes, aside from the fact that they're like 4 seconds of just looking at nothing, is that when you get a remix like I just got, they play an intruder alert. It's just because, you know, that's when a band comes and that's who you talk to change who is like which remix is playing. So that's 3 seconds time loss. But it's only the first time you get a remix, and with all the riffs we do this run, it's pretty hard to not get a remix. I would say it's more a question of when you get the time loss instead of if you get it. So here we're doing one of the more iconic skips of this game. We're going to be doing bag skip. If I know how to jump anyways. So right in front of where you spawn, there's a trigger that goes from wall to wall. Alright, sorry, I had misangled my jump to save it. There we go. You can see like the area for it right with those 4 lines right below me. If you go in there, it's about a 50-second cutscene. It's not an official cutscene, but it's basically a cutscene. So just by doing that, we just sort of jump over it. Doesn't save the full 50 seconds. It takes 20 seconds to climb and jump over it. But that still leaves a good 30 seconds time save. So for the rest of this level, we're going to be trying to burn these paintings. It'll get rid of these foxes here that Snatcher so desperately does not want. They don't want to be there either, so it's good for everyone. And it also gives us our timepiece, so if we want it to. Alright, my angle was so bad on that one, I'm amazed that worked. So as you can see, I'm taking some more damage here. I'm going to be setting up a different type of death warp. This one, unlike what we did in Heating Up, where we were just trying to go back to prevent backtracking, this death warp is going to allow us to not have to go back to hub. By taking this death, we're actually just going to respawn at the beginning of CO, but because Subcon Forest is pretty much just an open world level, we can just go straight to the next level. So, we're just gonna gather the timepiece, get hit by the explosion, because we had 1 HP, we die, and we're back in Subcon. So you saw me sign a contract after I burned the 4th painting, and that's just basically how you get new levels in this chapter. Some of them are accessible without a contract, but we do need to sign 2 contracts, so that was one of them. Here's getting rid of another firewall. We can skip this one without taking it down, however it's pretty slow to do that, and we'd have to do it 2 different times, so it's better to just take the firewall down. We were able to overlap right there the cutscene of the firewalls coming down with the entering the well, which is nice. It's a bit risky. If you mess that up, you have potential soft lock your game. But it's pretty easy to not soft lock, even if it just means missing the cutscene skip. So this chest actually gave us the only badge you'll be getting throughout the run, the hookshot badge. It works just, you know, like a hookshot does in most games, lets you grab a lot of stuff. So that right there is a dev chest. Because we're playing on the 1.0 version of the game, it was still left over from development. And what it does, it actually contains a specific one of the relics. And because the way relics work in this game, you get them in a specific order, no matter like which relic you actually grab. That make, like, you're always gonna grab relic 1, then relic 2, then relic 3, no matter which location you grab relics from. So if you have the specific relic that is located in that chest, it's not going to give you 2 of the same relic. The game just doesn't do that. So instead, I don't know why this was in the code, why it's a thing, but you get 100 pawns instead, which is convenient. I'm a fan. I mean, you know, the 300 pawns helps out a lot. We're actually going to be pushing for pawns towards the end of the run as it is, so the 300 goes a long way. In this next level, we're going to be, I mean, it's called mail delivery service, so it makes sense we're going to be playing as a mail woman. You know, snatchers meaning, I mean, everyone needs some mail, you know? I mean, if they haven't been getting it because no one's been there to deliver it, we may as well. We'll be a nice person. I mean, after all, Snatcher has a bunch of timepieces, so you know, we're gonna please him for a bit. I might want to swing my umbrella there. Or there. So, this level is better to play on keyboard mouse, just because of, you know, mouse speed. And I think controls are actually inverted on controllers, which makes it even worse. I like to play the whole game with keyboard mouse. I'm used to different strats, so I tried to do something else for a second, but I remembered. So whenever you complete a contract, like the one we have for this level, a menu will pop up. So because we actually got the timepiece before the menu popped up, it counted us as getting the timepiece, so we can just go back to hub like we did in Outer Space. And we're going to be doing the other contract that we had gotten from mail delivery service. This one's going to be another boss fight. However, it's going to be the easiest boss fight in the run. Honestly, sometimes I feel like getting there is harder than the boss fight, especially when I do stuff like that. So just by pausing there and lagging the game, we can actually force Torley to stay underground and hit a death point. And we're just gonna jump into the timepiece. We complete our act, complete our contract, and go back to hub. Easy peasy. Alright, so we're out of contracts, and we still have one more act to do. So we're actually just gonna load into a different level and just go to this act. This one actually has a volume we can hit. Like this one doesn't. This one isn't contract only. This level's still accessible from other acts, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're going to avoid that because we do not need any more contracts. Just be a waste of our time. Gonna skip some puzzles because while I do like puzzles, There's a time and place for everything. This is not it. Alright, so the next level we're doing is called Queen Vanessa's Manor. And this is the manor. So this level was originally, it still is a horror level, and for one reason or another, that was actually added a skip to it. So very logically, we're in the basement or the cellar right now of this manor, and we're just gonna crawl through a hole and immediately arrive in the attic. Of course, the plan was to jump on the door frame to then jump over this cutscene trigger. However, I tried to land on this candle right here, so I accidentally landed in the cutscene trigger, which is kind of unfortunate. Alright. So all that's left are the riffs and the finale for Subcon. I'm gonna do these two riffs real quick. The order really doesn't matter. There's no reason to do them one way or another. I just am not good at the riffs. I'm just trying to get them out of the way. One of the roots to that tree stump right there is actually in that bush. So I always bump into it when I don't jump. There is a way to not, I just don't know it. So in general, this rift is one of the more relaxed ones, because there isn't a huge cycle. There's nothing incredibly difficult about this rift. It's just not making dumb mistakes, which I have been known to make. I have some pretty bad times at this rift, but they're rare. Like, the biggest mistake I make these days is just missing one of these dive boosts and just falling off. But we didn't do that, we're fine. So menuing gets a tiniest bit slower now compared to in Mafia Town, because now we get Folk Shot, we have to go down one more time to go back to Hub. It's barely a noticeable time loss, but it's still something, you know, to remember, at least for me, so I don't accidentally just try and go into my badge menu instead of going back to Hub. Right, so for this rift, we're actually going to be getting a yarn on the way there. We get to see my poor setting choices cause that entire shadow right there. Alright, so coming up is the last movement tech that I didn't mention earlier. It's called TSJ, or a triple jump. And how and why it works is fairly complicated, but basically it's just a DSJ, but instead of getting one jump, you get 2 extra jumps, and you get a lot of extra height from them. So whenever we need height, go 2 jumps. We'll use it a couple more times in the run. It's not very often that you just need pure height, so they're not, you know, the most used mechanic. So you can do this a lot more optimally, like the whole bell section at the very end. However, I can't convince me that there isn't a difference when you hit the bell or not. I've tried it without the bell, and I swear that something's different. People keep telling me it's the same, but I just keep not believing them. So here's your boss fight for chapter 3. We're gonna be fighting Snatcher, and I think this is the only boss fight. Actually, no, it's a lie. I was gonna say this is the only boss fight that even casually has no RNG, but I think the second half that we never get to see has some RNG in it, so I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, regardless, there's no RNG for the run, so it's all that matters. So normally you're not supposed to be able to hit him until like halfway through the fight or something, like a minute something into the fight where he drops a potion, and then you're only supposed to be able to hit him every once in a while. But a tiny bit of his hitbox is actually sticking out, so you can sort of just hit that, and if you smack him enough times, he just starts transitioning to attacks. So we just keep hitting him until he's about to give us the potion, and then we just kill him. This fight's getting to the point where it's almost longer to watch this cutscene at the end of it than it is to finish the fight itself. Sign this contract, which is one of my favorite moments in this game, period. Just so cute. Don't know what it is about it, I just love it. Smashing on both controller and keyboard, a couple extra inputs. Doesn't, you know, do all too much in the end, but feels nice to do. Okay, so this is where all those relics we've been collecting all around come into play. We're going to be doing the first purple rift of the run right now, and in order to unlock the purple rift, you need to build the each relics, each of a specific relic. I've said this earlier, words are hard. So you need to buy the relic stand, each one costs a different amount of pawns, and build a specific relic. This is a cow and UFO relic. This is for subcon. And so, you know, at some point during each chapter, we'll be building a relic so we can do the level. And purple rifts behave a little bit differently than blue rifts. Each one is entirely unique to each chapter, and they are more of like a collectible per floor type of thing. I don't know if there's an actual name for it or not, to be honest. So hoping to slide onto that mushroom, get a little bit of speed. But for the these purple rifts, like each room has a these rift pawns. And in order to move on to the next floor, you need a certain amount of rift pawns. So I mean, it'll make sense once you see it. If you know my words are, which are probably not the best at explaining. I thought I had enough height for that. Backing that up used to be so terrible because we used to use the hook shot that was like right next to us. You might have seen the indicator for it. But that hook shot just never wanted to work. So, happy to find that wall climb strat. So yeah, this is Sleepy Subcon. It's a pretty fun level, it's one of my favorites. So you just have to collect a certain amount of rift pawns to end each floor. We're actually also going to collect this comic book page here. It's gonna let us skip the roulette at the end of the level. But it still is a rift. So I don't know if you see how many we have, and well, that's unfortunate. I've been doing runs of this a lot with the magnets on with the magnet badge, so I'm used to the pawns just sort of coming to me. So I just grab that hard as a safety, because if you die in these purple rifts, you don't start back on each floor you're on. You start back at the very beginning, and it's a really bad time loss. Grabbing a little bit of pawns, because you do get a lot of pawns from purple rifts. And you can actually go back to that immediately if you get a comic page, because it opens up a different, I won't say a menu, but it works differently than from a roulette. I'm making a new relic. I'll be making crayons. This is for Alpine, which is going to be our next chapter. And we're actually going to be talking to a cooking cat as well. And this is where we're going to get our last relic. Fortunately, this is the only way to get this relic, so we have to talk to a cooking cat. Alright, and this is Alpine. This is a true free roam chapter. That means that after each timepiece, instead of coming back to hub and re-going to the telescope, we just respawn back at the beginning and go again. However, before we can do any timepiece, we have to do this intro area. It's really not much, but some movement. So when I first learned this category, there wasn't, it wasn't really too popular. There wasn't a whole lot of people who had done runs, so I didn't really know a backup strat to that, and I was so bad at that jump onto that fence at the very beginning. And by the time I finally learned a backup strat for it, I had just gotten consistent at that jump. It was so aggravating at times, because I would lose so much time to that one jump. So this cutscene coming up, well, the one that we're in pretty much, riding this line, it's very beautiful, it's very lovely. I was supposed to do this. So, it's very lovely and all, but it's faster to go back to hub, unfortunately, so that's what we're gonna do. So now we're on the main island. This is where we'll go to after every timepiece. And the first thing we need to do is we need to spawn in all the zip lines that will lead us to each area. And the first place we're going is Birdhouse. Which I'm sure you can see in the background, it's a giant birdhouse with a timepiece in it. So each and every level in Alpine, we are able to break in some. Alright, each act in Alpine, the rifts, we can only break one of them. But each act in Alpine, we have some way, shape, or form of completely and utterly breaking. So I'll mention, each one, like how we break it as we get there. But in the end, Alpine is just full of exploits. Like you saw, I just took my hook shot off there. What that did was it actually got rid of my checkpoint. So even though it did just say checkpoint, I actually don't have one. My checkpoint is still set all the way to the so when I fall off, I'm all the way back here instead of the island that was just on. Checkpoint I had just gotten. And that is faster than taking the zipline back. So, you know, like I just said, if you take your hook shot off, you can skip your checkpoint. But it actually has another use. Each level in Alpine, when you reach like the island with a timepiece, you'll see a little cutscene before and after getting it. And it actually skips those cutscenes as well. Something about like the game not knowing you're on the island, so it doesn't play, something like that. However, it still also skips the cutscene. So you'll see I'll take it off. I'm not gonna get a cut. It skips the checkpoint. I'm sorry, I said cutscene again. It skips your checkpoint still. I'm gonna get a tiny bit low. It takes like a second to get those pawns, but there's a lot of them, so I think it's worth it. So right now I have no checkpoint, and I'm about to do a SDJ off this fence. And fences are not great for SDJs, because in order to SDJ you have to be on the ground. If you're on the air at all, it won't work. And you know, fences are just a little bit. It's easy to run a tiny bit diagonal and be off the edge and not be able to SDJ. I don't know, I'm going this way. Alright, so next up we're doing the lava cake. Oh, by that SDJ we did off that fence, that skipped like half of the birdhouse. You're supposed to go blow a horn and then take the zipline to get there. We just went straight there. So this strat we're doing on this island coming up is one of my favorite strats in Alpine, and I don't have a reason for it being my favorite. I just think it's cool. Just bouncing off these spiders. I don't know why I like that strat so much. I just have a lot of fun doing that strat. So just, you know, making use of the extra height we get for getting off the zipline. I didn't plan to land on that bird, but whatever, this works. So now we're approaching the lava cake itself, and it's made of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 layers. It looks like 5 layers, and I don't think we're doing a single one of them legit. So why, I can't tell you. I don't understand the mechanic fully, like on a technical level. But if you hit the lava and you're taking damage, and you hit like the edge of the volume a second time, it'll send you straight up, like as if you got hit by lava again, except you're not gonna actually take damage. There's a giant source of lava, for example, lava cake. You can just skip. Please, please, please. Oh, that platform saved me. I was not far enough ahead to land on the where I normally land, on one of these like rocks. So, and those cycles are sometimes a bit RNG-ish. So, I should save so hard. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, you can just get sent with the, you'll just keep bouncing up if there's a giant pool of lava like that. And that just lets us skip the entirety of lava cake. Landing right on that hay barrel can be a little awkward sometimes because of, you know, the roof of the house being right there. Ledge grabbing a spring. So, I think Windmill's probably one of my favorite levels, period, just to play. I don't know why. It may have something to do with the fact that blue is my favorite color, and blue is like the theme color of Windmill. Like, each zipline has a different color for each of the 4 areas. But I have a lot of fun with Windmill. Like, this island we're going to is my favorite horn island. This movement's really cool to me. The windmill itself is really fun to do. It's really cool to watch. So here we're sort of like SDJing all over the place. Blow that horn. If you get a DSJ off of that, what is that? Gate? Call that a gate? Wooden pole. If you DSJ off that wooden pole, you can just skip having to ride the windmill up, skip having to go to that little vent on the right where you normally would go, and just go straight to the house. Gonna take our hookshot off here to skip this cutscene. I think this is the longest ladder in the game, although I haven't checked, so don't quote me on that. But that's a pretty long ladder. And we're just gonna be, you know, sort of like skipping everything. You know, don't mind me. And here is the giant windmill skip. You can just ride a windmill blade, and all of a sudden, you're at the top of the windmill. So this took 25 minutes in my casual playthrough. It would probably be a tiny bit shorter if I knew that existed. Just a tiny bit. It's hard to see exactly how much that skips, but there's a lot of stuff you skip by doing that. It's a little ridiculous. So I'm a little short on bonds here. So I'm gonna grab these 3 right here actually. So there's some volume right there that sort of teleports you up. That's what I hit. Why it's there, what it does, why it's sticking out, I can't tell you. All I know is that it works. So we're actually pretty much at Twilight Bell right now. It's a pretty straightforward path to get here. And so Twilight Bell, in terms of like volumes level, is the most broken level. We're not gonna do too much with it, just because we're, you know, skipping as much of it as possible. But if you just look at the volumes, there's so much you can do with this level. It's kind of ridiculous. So, I mean, I'm not really going to explain everything, because there's so much that I would have to explain with this level. I'm just going to explain this part. So whenever you are in water, you can actually double jump, even if you're just holding sprint the entire time. And apparently that property even holds true for a waterfall. So when you are in the, like, you're just standing in the waterfall, you can sort of just double jump out of it, and it lets you just sort of skip a whole bunch. We're doing these wall climbs here, just skip the entire rest of the level, and that's Twilight Bell. So normally, if you play this casually, once you completed the 4th Alpine level, you'd be sent straight to the finale. Because we took our Hulk shots off and we did not get any checkpoints, the game doesn't do that for us. So we're just gonna do this level instead. This is the Purple Rift for Alpine. We're gonna get a lot of height off of this tightrope so I can just climb this pillar immediately. Did not mean to grab this hook shot. I meant to grab this hook shot. So that painting is still really awkward to grab. I'm sorry. That comic page I meant to say is pretty awkward to grab. But that is still the fastest one to get. It's still worth it. I mean, technically might not be the way I do it, but it's theoretically worth it, so I still do it. So more water. Oops, I wanted to grab that. More water again, so we can double jump out. Alright, and this jump's a tricky one. Getting an SCJ off of that is not easy. But if you do, you can just die boost to this. I kind of thought I was in the thing. You know, I do a lot of other categories when I forget to use brewer twice. And I'm a bit low on pawns too. I was kind of hoping to grab some there, but I forgot. I never remember to get pawns in purple rifts until I grab the timepiece. It always works out in the end, but it gets really close sometimes. I wish I'd just gotten some. Alright, so now we're going to do the finale for Illness. So, for this level, what we're trying to do is just reach certain areas in 3 of the 4 sections we've done, everyone but Twilight Bell, and just destroy a flower I mean. And because we have to go to each section, and it doesn't teleport you when you're done, you have to go back on your own. We're going to be taking our hookshot off everywhere. That way when we respawn, we are at the beginning, as close as we can be to the next area. Problem is, you know, like if we fall off anywhere, especially at this point, we go all the way back to the beginning. Whatever. But the time save we get from not having to go back is about the same as what we lose if we fall. So it's, you know, worth it to go for. Just going a little, you know, yeah, kind of some corners right here. These sections where the flowers get progressively harder as you go from one to the next. So this one's going to be the easiest. Then, you know, next one's going to be harder, and then harder still. So this is actually the last time in the entire run we're going to be taking hookshot off. Because there's only the one hookshot, the only one zipline here, and there's no need to do it in the final one. So unfortunately I missed the DSJ and I was too far to the side to land where I just landed. So I lost, you know, a couple seconds. I mean, it's unfortunate I didn't make it, but you know, at least there's that backup I can always do. So, you know, I think it's worth going for. Alright, so my angle is slightly off, so I have no idea what was going on for half of that. I was sort of just doing things and hoping they would work, and they worked. Alright, so I said earlier that we're not going to be taking our hook shot off for this one. And not only is that because we don't need to, because it's the final one, but actually it doesn't do anything for some reason. You still get the checkpoint on, I think not this one, I think on the next zipline. It's something with like the way the zipline travels. Like it hits a checkpoint even if you take your hook shot off. We're almost done with this level. Got the final section now. Section to me is actually the easiest because it just works so well. Because we can just sort of skip all the hard parts with that SCJ right there. Alright, all that's left is just grab the timepiece. So, now that we've finished all of those levels, now we're finally back in the hub. Now we have to watch all those telescope animations, unfortunately. So, we're just going to be sitting here for about 20-30 seconds. Alright, so this next level, though, is going to be obviously one of the blue ribs. That's all we have left to do. It's actually my least favorite level in the run. Just because it's full of like 10 goats. And goats can just easily mess you up. Hopefully we don't see why I exactly have a problem with them. But I have a very big problem with the goats. Oh, nice, alright. Usually when I do that, I have to wall climb the bush real quick. It's always nice to get that ledge grabless. I missed a DSJ there, so I had to, and I didn't realize that until it was too late. So about like almost every jump I'm doing here is at least attempting to be a DSJ. Alright, we got past the goats. That's always good. Tiny bit sloppy. Mostly at the beginning. Aside from that, that's actually kind of solid. Alright, and we got my favorite color out of it. You know what? That was worth it. Alright, this next level is probably one of the harder roofs to learn. The fastest way to do it is with another momentum STJ, the same type of jump we did to bag skip way back like 35 minutes ago. This one actually has a pretty good setup for it though. You don't have to like eyeball it like you do with bag skip, which makes this, you know, a good amount easier. But you know, I mean, it's still pretty easy to also mess up. No, I actually have more pawns than I thought I did. I still grabbed those spawns there, rather be safe than sorry. And then I missed the rift orb because game's hard. Alright, there's the momentum STJ right to this platform. And that's the entire level. So one thing about this is that the way you would do this casually actually is with the ice set. And we don't have the ice set yet, which makes this more of a required thing, or at least needing a reroute to not require it. Which makes it a little bit tricky to work with. At least like in terms of like teaching beginners. So this right here is what happens when you get 25 timepieces, which so happens to correlate with the end of Alpine. And this is basically just the game saying, yo, you can do finale now. By the way, we're continuing the story we haven't even mentioned since Down with the Mafia. So we're obviously not going to be doing a finale now. That's how we're going to end the run. But before we go anywhere else, we have to make this relic, because we're never going to be closer to the lab again. It's just easier to do it now. And next we're going to be doing Battle of the Birds. So Battle of the Birds is basically a competition, like a rivalry between two different directors. We have DJ Grooves and we have Conductor. So we'll see them both at the end of the level. I'll point out which one's which then. But basically they both want to win the prestigious Director's Award or whatever. I was trying to SCJ jump as hard. So just hit a volume there so you can do a little warp. We're gonna do a huge sequence break here. We're supposed to ride that cart right there all the way to the left and then go all the way to the right. Instead we're just gonna jump all over. We're just gonna jump over all of it. And I wait for that bird at the end because he is a really large, really fast catch rate. If I was in his sights for too long, I would have been sent back to my last checkpoint, which is pretty far away. So that's DJ Grooves right there, and coming up here is Conductor. That's Conductor. Say hello. So DJ Grooves basically said, I want you in my movie, here's a bird passport, you're a bird now. And Conductor said, wait, you're in his movies? No, you're in my movies. So now we're in both set of those movies. We're gonna be here for a while. It's just how it works. So the first level we're gonna be doing is a Conductor level. Murder on the Owl Express. It's gonna be a like a murder mystery, except it really kind of doesn't matter. We're a little kid. I don't know what kind of detective work they're expecting from us. Although we do get a nice detective's hat from it, so I mean, you know what? Worth it. Detective's app. Unfortunately, it's a normal app, and we need sprint hats. So here's the murder. That's a cardboard man who's one of the suspects. I think it was her, to be honest. Don't want to throw my own family under the bus, but I mean, did you see those eyes? Those are the eyes of a killer. We're gonna at least attempt to stand on this door frame so we can reach this button long before we're supposed to actually be here. And this is actually a pretty big sequence break. I mean, unless you're bad at the game. If you're bad at the game, it's not a sequence break at all. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, there we go. So, because of the sequence break that we did, the game doesn't know what to do. So it tries to play a cutscene, and then once it's done playing the cutscene we're not watching, it sort of teleports us back. God, I think that lost like 15 seconds. So yeah, we're sort of just like running all over the place right now. Just the main objective for us for this level is to enter this door. Because as soon as we leave this door, the level's over. And so, you know, we didn't collect any evidence. I mean, we're a little kid. Again, I don't know what they expected from us. Oh yeah, murder was fake, by the way. Again, none of that mattered. And typepiece. So now we have our little credits reel, which is actually like a second than the normal timepiece animation, so I'm thankful. So now we did a conductor movie. Let's spread the love. Let's do a DJ Cruise movie. So this one's all about becoming a diva. We're gonna take pictures with fans. We're gonna talk to them. We're gonna be parts of endorsements. It's gonna be a great time. Nothing's gonna go wrong at all. I promise. That is the entire level, actually, by the way. Just becoming a diva. When I say nothing's gonna go wrong, I mean I'm not gonna make any mistakes. Get this yarn here. And it's actually the last yarn we need for the run. We actually have more than enough now. So normally I would try and hit this dog with a potion. That way I can dive boost off the roof over there. It's a little bit faster. But because the car was there, if you try and dive boost like into a car or something, it gets really weird. So I just try and, you know, not. If I'm worried about a car, I'll just jump off. It's only like a second or so. Alright, so we're doing the second and the last conductor level right now, and this level is it was made to be played fast. We're racing a timer here. There's a bomb on the train. So just like with the murder mystery, who do we send to fix the issue? A little girl. So that switch we just pulled, that was actually what activated the bomb. So this one's probably our fault, so I guess it makes sense that we're the ones to fix it. So I don't know what kind of remodeling they did from the last time we were here, but I'm digging this. Yeah, I'm liking the train like this, I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's so inconsistent whether I'm gonna butt bump there or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The problem is when I don't think I'm going to, I try and tech the fall, so I'm already spamming jump. but then I don't butt bonk, and I just jump off the edge. Alright, so this train rush isn't going terribly so far. Alright, so we have about 5 sets of buttons we need to press here. The first huge set is just spawns the next set of buttons, and then this, the last set, brings down the gate finally. This is the last hat we're making for the run. So at the end of each of these credit scenes, you've seen like a points rally up. Whoever has the most points at the end wins the award ceremony. And it doesn't really matter who wins. It used to matter. It doesn't anymore. Because we found a way to do a quick kill on both. Because whoever wins becomes the final boss. We found a way to quick kill both of them the same way, same speed. So we don't care anymore. There is a half-second difference from when they give you the timepiece. DJ Grooves does a spin, Conductor does not. So we would rather Conductor win. However, it's a half-second time save. It's not going to be the end of the world. Bonds are actually looking good. This entry time is not, but bonds are looking good. So this is the rift with this, like, I won't say the tightest cycle, but the hardest to deviate from, I guess. Like, this is the easiest level to get, like, the same time consistently. Because, like, we have the cycle for those buttons, and you're not even done there. This gear right here is the cycle that you have to make. And by the time you get off the gear, there's like 3 jumps left in the level. I didn't plan to fall that far down, but I mean, it still works somehow. For some reason, you can climb that gear like 7 times. I don't know what causes it. But I'm trying to keep this color to the end. It's my favorite color. I like it. I want it. Alright, so this next level is probably the least favorite level of anyone who's ever done speedruns of this game. It's a 4-minute auto-scroller, and it's kind of incredibly super boring. Like, that's all the action we're gonna get for a minute. Like, now you're just gonna see me walk in circles and get pawns. Like, it's a boring level. This is definitely one of those read like 5 donations during the level. So nothing really exciting happens until the end. I did miss this pawn though. Okay, so I'm actually going to set for a stuck warp here. This is the same trick that we used in Heating in Mafia Town, where we get stuck and it teleports us as far as we set it to go. Alright, good. Didn't want to double jump so early. That one's a bit difficult, especially when you use your double jump early like I do. No, it shouldn't have been that scary, being at 1 HP and all. But, I mean, stuff happens. Technically, I would love to have 5 more pawns, but I can work very well with what I have. Yeah, we're gonna snipe another stuck warp to take us to that telephone pole. And you're just gonna be waiting here. Yeah, Funny Stone 1.0, the ice hat sort of just gives you, lets this happen. I don't know how it works. I just know you ice hat, you don't die. We're actually gonna be abusing that as soon as this is over. But first, you know, there we go. Alright, so this one's actually easy to set up, because I think you have barely enough room to get to work as it is. So here we're going to be setting up another death. This one's going to be very similar to the one in Contractual Obligations, the first level we did in the Subcon Forest. The only difference is this one's a little bit harder to set up, and these rockets coming out of these floats are RNG. It is possible they are going to stop me from doing this, and if that happens, it's going to be a bad time. So I'm just going to line this up, and we're just going to do it. I think that rocket hit me and messed me up. That is exactly what happened. A rocket came from behind me and messed me up. There was nothing I could do about that. I'm just gonna take advantage of the opportunity and collect these 5 pawns. Alright, so we're gonna try this again. So unfortunately that was like 40-50 seconds. But I mean, yeah, that's just what happens sometimes. So I've never had a rocket mess me up twice in a row. So hopefully, oh wait, sometimes I mess me up twice in a row. I was focusing on rockets, I wasn't looking at the time. Yeah, and I got sent the wrong way. Okay, well, that one was... I was panicking on that one, I guess. I swear the strats are usually consistent. It's been a while since I played this category, and I haven't re-grinded this yet. For some reason, I lose muscle memory on this trick specifically. If I just ledge grab them, I'm just grabbing the timepiece. That's just all there is to it. Alright, well. I mean, that's unfortunate, but that happens sometimes. I have to deal with that. So normally I'd be skipping all of this, I'd be going straight into this rift right here, but I made mistakes. Yeah, now I get to do this cool slide entry. Wasn't all bad. No, so the rest of the run was going pretty well, so I figure it's about time something like that happened. With all the checkpoints we skipped in Alpine, it was, you know, only a matter of time before something, like some noticeable time loss happened. Yeah. I don't know why I'm sneezing right now. Probably allergies. It's usually allergies. Yeah, so we're using this fence right here to just climb over this wall. Alright, so now we're going to go to the fake award ceremony. This is the level with the half-second time loss, depending on who you have win. However, we have conductor win, so we're all good. Okay, so now that we've done the of Battle of the Birds, let's try and leave. Oh, we have a phone call. Oh, the award ceremony is rigged. I guess they want us to do something about that. Alright, so if you remember, I said in Succon Well, pawns actually get tight towards the end of the run. We currently have 0 pawns after buying that relic pad. So, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We only have to spend 50 more for the rest of the run, and it's not difficult to get that much in the levels we have left. The hard part of the pawn route is just affording that one relic pad. Plan was to do a DSJ there. You could actually climb this wall if you get the DSJ. But I missed it, so fortunately gotta do backup strats. I don't do that movement enough to know exactly the optimal way to do that. I usually get the DSJ. Alright, so we just did that level there, just because we were already away from the telescope. So now we're back at the telescope, because for every spaceship rift, you just go back to the last telescope you used. And now we're going to continue with these levels. So now we're going to do the chapter 2 boss fight. So this elevator ride, it's about 40 seconds long again, I believe. I keep forgetting the exact seconds count, but I'm pretty sure it's 40. Yeah, so we have a while to just sit here and wait. I mean, there's nothing else to really do. Yeah, so, you know, what you're supposed to be seeing here is, you know, like all the floors of the basement that you're going to be climbing throughout, you know, the, level. But it actually, it's just moving images. So, you know, that's done. Now we're going on to the level here. We're actually going to be doing an out of bounds right here. And we're out of bounds. Complicated, I know. So we're going to be hitting a volume right here. This skips the first 3 rooms. And what is left is not a lot. standing in this door frame, we can skip pretty much everything we didn't skip yet. And this elevator takes us to the boss fight. Alright, so this boss we're actually gonna handle similarly to how we handled the toilet. The only difference is we can't lag him out on the first attack. It has to be one of the attacks in the second phase. So we're sort of just gonna go through these phases as fast as we can. And you know, hopefully this goes well. Because there's a tiny bit of RNG to actually getting this. I was handling that kind of poorly, but it could have gone a lot worse. Alright, we got good RNG. Basically, we want to lag the game going into the attack that he's about to do. And this is the easiest way to guarantee that attack. So he's gonna die in about 15 seconds, till I'm just waiting. And this is still about a minute faster than any other quick kill we had. And it's hard to tell, but as soon as the timepiece spawns, you'll be able to notice. There's a bit of an animation bug that goes on whenever you like drastically change your settings like I did. So it's gonna, you know, be disco-y for the rest of the run. You know, that just sort of happens when you play. When you change your settings like that, you want to test out yourself, you know, it happens. Alright, so this is the last level we are going to be doing in Battle of the Birds. After this, it's just Mafia cleanup and finale. So if you recognize where we are, when we did Deadbird Studio like 20 minutes ago, we actually came up here to get a yarn. The reason that we did that then instead of now is just because we want to use the ice after parade, and at this point it's too late. This level is actually probably my least favorite Purple Rift. No real reason, it's just I'm not a huge fan of the design of it personally. Yeah, okay. This box sticks out a tiny bit so you can actually still stand on it. I was hoping to be able to jump on it when I was wall climbing the wrong spot, but it didn't work out. So this isn't a huge time save, but still a time save. You can hit the loading zone for the next room on the bottom of that pipe as soon as it opens. Did a sprint jump. Did not mean to do a sprint jump. Alright, and we are done with Battle of the Birds. Gotta, you know, actually grab the timepiece. Alright, so we're technically one pawn short, however, we still have one more level to do. So, should be able to find that one pawn. We're going to be doing our last Purple Rift here. This one's gonna be the most simple one because we're back in chapter 1. I missed the die boost, unfortunately. If I hit it, yeah, I would just be sort of falling down. I would land right in the rift. It's nice when it happens, but I mean, it's kind of difficult. Grab this comic page here. I keep forgetting it for some reason, but we remembered this time. If you DSJ into the balloon, it sets you up nicely to just grab that pawn. So I'm pretty sure this room is actually the only room in a purple rift with a real cycle. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. This room's a little scary because the Mafia guys have cans again. And if they, damn it, I missed that. If they hit you with a can, you just stop. So this strat probably isn't even faster in the first place. It's my favorite Mafia Town strat, so I always go for it. Alright, we got our one pawn, we're good. Alright, here we go, last level of Mafia Town. So for this level, you're supposed to have the time stop hat. However, that's 24 yarn. We collected 26 yarn total this run to make 4 hats we did. So we're not making the time stop. Instead, we're just gonna go fast. And as long as we go fast correctly, we win. Alright, well, that wasn't flawless. The Mafia guy at the end almost blocked me. But, you know, wasn't too difficult. Alright, and now we're about to go do mailroom. So this level is only really difficult because of the enemies they have there. If they see you, they're gonna just run for you as fast as they can and do their best to knock you off the cliff. And they do a pretty good job at it, I won't lie. They do a pretty good job. So we're just gonna spend as little time on these platforms as possible. You can sort of see, like, when they knock into each other, just how fast and how far they get sent. The worst part is if you get hit once, chances are they're gonna catch up to you before you can move. So you should start getting hit over and over and over again. Alright, and now it's time for the final level in the run. So in order to hit these buttons to get rid of this fence, they want you to use Dweller, Ice, and Brewer. And we do have those hats. However, hitting the buttons is pretty slow. Jumping over the gate is less slow. So we're gonna go with that option. Ow, wait. I was expecting a longer loading screen. Well, that's supposed to be a normal wall. It's just you know, same texture stuff as the timepieces. So this is finale skip. There's a lot of platforming to do in this level. We're not gonna do any of it. And instead, we're sort of just gonna be sliding along the roof. I'm gonna be doing a slower version of this strat just for consistency for now. I sort of failed like 3 times in a row earlier, so I don't feel like repeating that. It's only like 4 seconds slower, optimally. Alright, that wall kind of scared me for a second. So where I go up, like I'm trying to avoid some invisible walls, and there's actually a hole right here. And now that we're over that, it's just smooth sailing. Just gonna be sliding along the rest of the way until we're finished with the level, pretty much. There's still the whole boss fight after this, but I mean like the level of the movement. Alright, we made it back in bounds by hitting a cutscene trigger. I was hoping to skip the cutscene, but I was a bit late on my press. I'm just gonna try and not die here. Not getting the best attack patterns, unfortunately. You can do that in pretty much one swing of one set of like 4 and then 1 hit, and it can be really fast, or you can get what I just did and get like no double hits. So we're gonna try and use our brewer as much as we can, just to hit her as fast as possible like that. But sometimes tried and true umbrella. Here she's actually gonna teleport if we get too close, so we have to use our brewer or make her teleport a certain amount of times. Hitting her tends to be faster if you can land the hit. Unfortunately, my accuracy has never been the best. Just a little mixture of using Mafia Boss and their brewers. Supposedly getting hit there is faster, but not a lot in this fight is consistent, to be honest. This fight has the most RNG in the run. I'm honestly not even sure how much it is. Last I checked, it was like a minute of RNG, but no one's ever gotten best RNG, so it's like, on average, you'll probably lose like 20 seconds. So like, what's the, to like the using brewer a little bit, trying to get some double hits here. Alright, now we're on final phase. I don't know where that brewer went. It was supposed to target Mustache Girl, not the floor. So anyway, we're just finishing up this cutscene. You know, one more phase of the fight left, then it runs over. My brewer actually isn't not in the worst spot. That brewer's there just cover a couple of options for her first attack. So there's one attack that's really hard to deal with, which just so happens to be the only attack you can get double on, like that. So I get, you know, maximize my odds of getting a double. But I can, you know, still deal with them if I need to. Alright, and I mean, that's final phase for you. Nice, quick, short and sweet. All that's left is to grab this timepiece, and that's run. And that would be time. So, I mean, that's the run. It did not go exactly as well as I was hoping for. However, parts of it did go kind of smooth, so I mean, overall I'm not too mad at it as a run in a whole. But I'd probably set my estimate to be about the one, like in game time, the 127-minute mark. Just because there's, you know, one that alone is 2 minutes above my PB, which where I'd feel comfortable playing. And even then, we found a lot of stuff, so my PB is still pretty outdated. So, yeah, that's my plans for my estimate at the very least. This was a bit above it. I don't know how it went RTA, but, you know, in game time that was a bit above it, unfortunately, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. You know, not every run's gonna be great. So, thank you for considering, and